Hi everybody, welcome back for episode 2 in our glass half full video series. My name is Derek Huff. I'm the owner and winemaker here at Traveler Cellar, and this is a good friend of mine.
I'm Brian. We're back for episode 2. Super excited. I hope you guys really enjoyed episode 1, and we're really glad to bring this to you all.
Yeah, so today what we're going to be doing, we're going to taste our Pinot Grigio, which is an off-dry wine, and we're going to try our Gewurztraminer, which is short for Gewurztraminer. We're going to try these 2 wines, and then we're going to talk about our topic for this series, which is who do you surround yourself with and why? A little bit deeper of a subject, but it's kind of near and dear to our hearts. It's one of the conversations we've had recently, and we wanted to share that with you. So without further ado, let's pour a little wine.
Pinot
Grigio.
Guys, notice the color on this Pinot. It's a beautiful, almost looks like a rosé, I guess you would say.
Yeah, it's kind of a goldish pink. Cheers. Pinot Grigios can be like light yellow in color. They can be golden in color, kind of a pinkish or even goldish pinkish in color. Yeah, this is off dry. It's not bone dry. What do you think?
It's labeled as a 2 on the Kentucky sweetness scale, and I'm a little shocked by that. This is a dry wine, but this is truly a wine that you can introduce to someone who appreciates sweets a little more than dry, and I think they would enjoy it. It's so easy to drink. As soon as it hits your palate, it goes. You just naturally want to take it straight down. That's a good wine.
Yeah, it's a Vitis vinifera grape variety. So what that means is it originated in Europe, specifically Eastern Europe, and it's also known as Pinot Gris or Pinot Grigio. And this is a Pinot Grigio that we sourced here within the States, and happy to share it with you. Nice light wine, but full-bodied, pretty easy to drink.
Vitis vinifera.
Vitis vinifera, yeah.
You know me with my stories. I'll tell a quick one. What I love about Derek and his understanding of what goes into these wines is that it's like anything related to wine, I'll say, of course, like my non-understanding brain, I'll say something about it, and then he'll say, "Oh, that's called Vitis vinifera." So
wine thief.
Wine thief. This label, that's actually called mesmerization of labels. It's when the label separates from the bottle naturally. So I think that's, all jokes aside, it's super cool the knowledge you have behind it. Lord knows I don't have it. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. All right.
You noticed in the first video, episode 1, you went to clean out my glass, and I snatched it back because there was a little bit of wine left in it. It was the.
You gotta finish that.
Finish that wine.
Why wine?
You all listen, accidental match right here. Look at our colors. That's just how you know what kind of level we're on the same page.
Next, we're going to try our Gewurz. We wanted to be a little playful with the name of this. So the name of the grape itself is Gewurztraminer.
So that's how you say the name of the grape. Gewurztraminer.
Also a Vitis vinifera European variety.
Hey!
Primarily grown in that Hungary, Austria, Germany region. Very, very popular over there. I think second only to Riesling in a lot of those regions. It's really, really floral on the nose, but it's really light and crisp. Really great on a nice warm spring day, which looks like we're starting to have a few of those.
We are, thank God. And you said similar to a Riesling, and that's a little bit more of what I get with this wine. It's, I guess, significantly more sweet than the Pinot. Really nice. Also super easy to drink. So more palatable for a sweet wine type person, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
A person who's into sweet wine, rather.
And since it's a 4 on the sweetness scale, so kind of right in the middle too. So if you prefer the really, really sweet wines, this might be on the lower end of your palate of what you might enjoy, because it does have like about 2.8% residual sugar. It still falls in that 4 range, but it's on the lower end of the 4 range, almost a 3. So if you're following the Kentucky sweetness scale.
And anybody who's been out here has had the Vigneault, I'm very sure. And this what would you say this is in relation to the Vigneault?
It is just slightly less sweet than the Vigneault.
Okay, so what I think about this wine is if you're wanting to experiment more with the dry wine, which you should experiment with all kinds, because every now and then you're shocked. It'll surprise you what actually hits your palate the right way. So if you do like something like the Vigneault, definitely try this out. It's just a little more dry, but very similar to it. So it might lead you down that dry path.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel about it.
You know, really light hints of just the faintest hints of pineapple or kind of lemon zest kind of flavors there, but very, 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 very light. Yeah, also very smooth, very easy to drink. Nice balance on the acidity, and it's 12.2% ABV. Yeah,
So it'll get you times 2.
It'll get you. And both of these are available now in the tasting room, and they've been popular since releasing them. We just thought we'd like to share them with you. I guess again, it wouldn't be a glass half full if we didn't have a glass half full of something. So what's your pleasure?
Love them both. They're great. I'm more of a dry guy, so I will go with the Pinot.
All right.
Such a nice color as well.
I said half full. I was about to cheat you.
I need my money's worth.
That's same for me. Win in Rome.
Win in Rome. So while Derek is pouring these, this brings me to the topic today, which is so important and near and dear to people like me and Derek, because these are conversations that we have casually. They're just things we talk about. Who do you surround yourself with and why? Mm-hmm. And this is so important to me, and I'm sure it is to you all and Derek as well. So who do you surround yourself with, Derek, and why?
And this is something that I really hadn't started evaluating until the last year or two, but I found that I want to be around people who help bring out the best in me, and I want to be. I search out people who exhibit qualities or traits that I feel like I'm lacking. And because I feel like I'm attracted to that because that's going to help me grow. For example, people who are constantly trying to not necessarily reinvent themselves, but people who are continuously trying to learn about things that maybe they don't know about or things that they're uncomfortable with. There is growth. I feel like there's huge growth in seeking out something that you don't know or something that you thought you knew, but maybe you find out something that may surprise you. So I look for people like that.
Nice. I think that's good. So for me, I thought a lot about this, and I thought about individuals, not to be named, but I thought about the individual crowd or groups I hang out with, or even people. And so I surround myself with people who motivate me and who are motivated. Typically people who have several things going on. I love to learn new things, and I love to be around people who have things going on. I feel like that's really important. I feel like being stagnant can be really dangerous. And as humans, we just need something to do. And I feel like at times when we have nothing to do, that's when things get strange. Yeah. So people who are motivated, people who have things to do, and also people who I can be of service to, whether that's being a mentor, if that is my neighbor who is a little old lady who go to AutoZone with and pour a little fluid in her car just to help it, just be of service in some kind of way. Yeah. I think it's so important to give back to anybody who needs it. And surrounding yourself with the people you surround yourself with, how has that molded you into who you are now?
That's a great question. So I think by being a little more choosy with who I really bring into the fold and who Desiree and I spend a lot of time with. By doing that, and I think by seeking out those people who I want to be more like, it motivates me to emulate a lot of those traits that I want to be better at.
Okay.
You know, so in that I've grown, and I've decided, you know what, hey, they're doing this, or maybe they're reading this book. That's a, you know, and I look into that book and it's like, wow, this has got a lot of stuff that I could learn from, and I'll seek out that book and read it, and so doing those little things help me grow. Or somebody who's, you know, taken a leap and fearlessly, and I can see them, and I can pick their brain, I can see what they're doing, and you know, use that as motivation for me. You know what? That can be done.
That's
and
right.
It can be done in weird times like this.
That's
you know,
right.
too. So I look for those people. I want to be around those people. I want to ask them questions. I want to, you know, just talk to them. And most people are pretty, you know, open books.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I think that's good. So that I think with that type of mentality, going back to what I said earlier, it just makes you a human. You realize, like, sometimes it takes someone to take a step for us to realize, okay, the sky did not fall down on them, so surely it won't fall down on me.
Yeah.
So maybe I can take some steps toward my dream as well.
Yeah.
And you know, this just came to me, another group I like to hang out with, and anybody who truly knows me, you know this is factual. I like to hang out with people who have incredibly opposing views from what I have. And I'm no political guy. I just consider myself a good person with who has morals. And so people of all walks of life who have, I'm talking incredibly different views than me, and you've even seen that face to face. And so the reason I do that is because I don't necessarily believe in fighting fire with fire. If someone doesn't like me because my shirt is peach colored, I don't know, then I don't need to not like them because their shirt's red, you know? Matter of fact, I'll just strike up a conversation with them, and it's something that we don't have to ever talk about this, but I will show them other aspects of who I am and me in my life, and they can get to know me versus how my shirt looks, fits, whatever the case may be. And I feel like it's really powerful to hang out with people like that, because that's where we've gotten a little lost in society, in my opinion, is that we don't listen to each other anymore.
No.
And that's really, really, really important. If we can just sit at the table and listen to each other, we can leave the table and still feel the way that we felt before we sat down.
Sure.
But it's so important to just listen to the other side. Why not?
Because, you know what, I feel like most people seek out conversation to be heard instead of seeking out conversation to listen.
Correct.
And if people would do better at trying to understand by listening, not understand by talking, but if you try to understand by listening, and then even if you can't be empathetic, try to be sympathetic to what they're saying, because the old adage that everybody is going through something and you may not necessarily know what that is, it's so true. And gosh, man, people, you know, especially with the last year, the way it's been, you know, people are struggling and they put on a happy face. Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, there's some real struggles going on out there, and I run into it, you know, daily with some of my friends and people I come across and that sort of thing. And I think we would all be best served to just be a little more patient and open your ears a little bit more.
Yeah. I got a quick story, if you don't care.
Yeah.
About patience. I went to the bank recently, and I was really shocked by this. Guys, I love the elderly. I grew up, my mom was a med tech at a nursing home for 17 years, and so that's where I got off the bus or out of football practice, and that's where I went. So love that population. So I've always just held them to the highest standard. And just speaking of patience, I was in the line at the bank, and I was the one closest to the teller, so I could see them through the window closest. And then this little elderly lady, who I just naturally assumed was the sweetest thing ever, pulled up in the bay, I guess you would call it, beside me. And the gentleman inside, I could hear him speaking to her. He said, "Man, how are you doing today? How's your day going?" And she said, "This machine's not opening." I mean, she just fired on him. And I thought, like, whoa. And that's just one example of so many. And that's not to critique her. She could have been having the worst day ever. Who knows? So we'll give her favor as well. I'm just saying, like, I think our world, if we start with our world that's most close to us and just spread a little kindness within that, I mean, that can be really good.
So going back to a point you just made a minute ago, about how you may not necessarily want to surround yourself with people who disagree with you, but that you seek them out and you do want to be near them and around them because you can have that influence on them.
That's right.
And I think it's so important because, case in point, you and I had an interaction with someone very recently, and I thought it was so unique and so interesting what happened that day because of how and who this person is. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I do recall. So guys, this was a special situation that I have found myself in more than one time, and it doesn't always work out the way that it worked out the other day, but it is what it is. Long story short, you can imagine this gentleman is not for people like me, I would say, based on appearance alone. We're talking color appearance alone.
Yeah.
It was so interesting. So Derek and I were together doing a little work, and so we drove up to where he was. He was out and about, and we just had a little casual conversation with him. Something about the weather, or just very casual conversation. Are you working hard or hardly working? Stuff like that. Just a little feeler. And so we talked, and then a little bit later, I drove back around to where he was just to stop and make casual conversation about music. That he was listening to some kind of, I don't know, he had some kind of like Bluetooth system out there, playing some kind of music. Again, just a very casual conversation. But the turning point happened when I was out by myself doing a little work, and he walked over from where he was to where I was, sat on the Easy Go, which is like a golf cart kind of deal, with a crazy steering wheel. So he sits down on it and starts asking me questions just about life. And we just have a casual conversation and a good conversation. And I didn't do that for him to double back and boast about me or anything like that. But Derek filled me in later. When I left the property, he actually spoke to you, right?
Yeah. So he came to me, and he's like, that Brian guy that was out here, he's a nice guy. I said, yeah, he is a genuinely nice guy. He's one of my best friends, and I learned so much from him. He's like, yeah, I can see that he's just good people. I said, yeah.
Yeah, he's a human. So dealing with this individual, it took me a long time, I'll say, to learn how to deal with people who were different than me, or who I knew for sure viewed me in a way that I didn't appreciate. And so I had a breakthrough a few years ago, and I realized that I would carry myself around certain people the way that I almost thought they perceived me. Like if you saw me, like, just for example, if a person sees you as broke, not having any money, and you feel that, you might catch yourself in a situation where you act like that around them. If a person sees you as wealthy, regardless if you have any money or not, you might catch yourself in a situation with them where you act as if you do have that money. You talk like you do have it. So my approach with this person was, like it was with many over the last few years, not act like what his perception of me was.
Sure.
So just to give him the raw me, who's very wonderful, by the way. I'm teasing. But just to give him the raw who I am. And guys, we had the best conversation. We laughed, we joked, and I'm not perfect at anything, but this is something that I want to continue to get better at, and I think that we can all get a little bit better at. Don't allow someone's perception of you to govern the way you carry yourself. number one. But just be true to yourself and true to who you are, and you can
break down barriers.
Yes, break down barriers. That's a great way to put that. Because we broke that boy down. All right, that day.
Yeah.
And I hope to befriend this person. This is somebody who I would put on my to be of service list. Maybe there's something that I can do for him.
Yeah.
And if I can change the way that man sees me, then I can change the way he sees other friends that I have, and then slowly we've changed that guy's heart, and that's important to me. That's important to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
By no means did we mean to make a motivational video, but if that's what you get out of this, please take that and run with it. And I want to hit on something you said as far as having an opportunity. Guys, I'm a definition of that. I'm a person who comes from, I'll just say, very humble beginnings. And one thing that I realized very early on is that your options sometimes seem very few, but if you just never lose your grit or your sight, and you know that there's another way, another option, and you work to dig yourself out of that hole, whatever that hole may be, you'll come out of it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, if you're patient, probably better than you ever thought. You just have to trust yourself. You know what I mean?
And your attitude,
Oh, it's everything.
Your attitude determines your aptitude.
Yes.
And your altitude.
Yes.
How high you can go.
You're you're a word mixologist.
It is, yeah. Mixologist. Yeah. That's a little cliche, but it's true.
No, it's very. There's a lot of cliches that are so true.
Attitude is everything.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be around somebody that is constantly in a bad mood.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to be near them to help them, or maybe help influence them to look on the brighter side, or a glass half full.
That's right.
Because if you're constantly looking at the negative, you're just going to go down this rabbit hole of self-pity and self-doubt.
That's right.
But again, goes back to who you surrounding yourself with. Are you surrounding yourself with people who just, yep, man, you're right, and are the yes men in your life that are just, confirming what you already believe?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you putting yourself out there and having a little diversity in your thought process?
Yeah. And I want to hit right on what you're saying. There's another topic I would like to hit, or another portion of this topic, rather. And basically, when you're talking right now, the two words are ringing in my head: accountability partner. Accountability partner.
Yes.
And so, what is so strong about that, and so good for you to surround yourself with someone who will hold you accountable? What's so powerful about that is, if that person knows you and you've made it so clear what your goals are, or things you don't want to be doing in your life, they can let you know. Listen, you're messing up. You are not doing what you said you were going to do. Which leads me to another thing. That is, in my life, the number one person I seek to be around is the person who does what they said they were going to do.
They're going to help make you the best you that you are.
That's exactly right. I don't care if you told me that you could meet me at Panera for coffee at 6 in the morning on Tuesday. Like, be there at 6. Like, I don't want to show up and you not be there. Matter of fact, if I get there at 5:45, I still almost want you to be there. It's something small like that. Do what you say you're going to do.
That's huge too. We appreciate all of y'all tuning in to this episode. If you made it this far, congrats. You're probably in the 10% that watched all the way to the end. But hey, stay tuned for blooper reel. We're going to have that at the end of the video. And if you didn't know, we do offer delivery within Warren County, and we do surrounding counties. There is a small charge unless you get $25 worth, and it's free of charge. We are open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 7, and we'd love to see you here out at the winery. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I gotta get this throatiness out.
You want to hear a joke about construction? I'm still working on it.
Oh!
Did you know? I only know 25 letters of the alphabet.
I wonder why.
I don't know why.
No idea. What's a pirate's favorite letter?
R.
It's actually the C.
R.
So what we're calling this one, test. Desiree's behind.
Oh, sorry.
I'm very behind. No, I didn't mean. You just can't imagine. That's so crazy. I'm gonna have to go downstairs after seeing that.
Maybe I'll just take the elevator.
Oh, the knee pop.
So while Brian's gone, I got some dad jokes for you. Do sprinters eat before they race? No, they fast. I feel like it should be auto-tuned right now.
Yeah.